I mentioned earlier that Dwayne and I found 15 qualities of little kids that are radically different from the way adults go about play. And as a brief overview, as adults we might identify play as golf, tennis, bridge, some craft might be a form of play. And when you think about it, often those are about following rules, keeping score, measuring performance, working to get better. And do you ever experience you're in the middle of something that started out as being really fun and now you're miserable and suffering? Monday night I have a painting class, and some Mondays the painter doesn't show up. But I don't leave in the middle of class. I suffer through till the bitter end. Do you see the difference? One is the adult left brain approach to things. The other is the kid spirit, which is spontaneous. And for little kids, when they play, they look for ways to feel good and joyful together. And a good playmate is someone who helps you find and keep the fun moving. Second trait is, for a little kid, if it stops being fun, they just get up and leave it, right? Any golfers, can you imagine you're on the 8th hole, it's the worst game of your life? Can you imagine chunking it in? You know, there are these nice little sand piles you could sit down and make sand castles. But you probably wouldn't. But again, to help you understand, and again, those 15 qualities of childlike play all emit endorphins. And endorphins are a chemical that radically changes your energy. It causes you to be more creative. It draws people to you and you to other people. It's the magic of teamwork and the magic of great places to work, great businesses, and the joy of being alive. So let's take another step on our journey, and let me get you to think back to when you were a little kid, and what were some of your favorite ways to play. And this is very personal, but just go into your memories and think, was it riding your bicycle? Did you ever dress up your animals in a pet parade? Did you build a tree house? Did you climb trees? Did you have water balloon fights? You ever build a fort or have a show in the backyard? Those are all rich resources of the kind of renewing joy that will really lift your energy. There's another category I want to explore with you, and that is, can you remember some dreams that were so precious to you, but you never got to do them? And I'll tell you another Anne story. Let's see if we can get the picture of, there it is. Do you recognize that little girl? That's me. First grade, 5.5 years old, starting school in Oklahoma City. I call her Little Georgie because my full name's Georgia Ann, and I remember writing that name at the top of my school papers, soon realizing if I had to do that on every paper the rest of my life, I was not going to grow old. I was going to grow old fast. So I shortened it to Ann. But growing up, I was tall at a very early age. And in the early years, there were only boys in our neighborhood. I had a brother 3 years older, and they called me affectionate names like Beanpole and Moose. And I was hurt by that, because I didn't want to be a tall, skinny, ugly beanpole, and I certainly didn't want to be a moose. But I learned with boys that you never expose vulnerability. So it's kind of like, I'm the toughest moose you ever saw, and I swaggered around. And yet, when I was 10 years old, we moved into a neighborhood, and for the first time I had a little girl next door, 2 years younger, and she was beautiful, had corkscrew curls and little and petite, and we could play dolls together, but best of all, she had dancing lessons. She had shiny black tap shoes and costumes and dance recitals, and I never went home and asked for dancing lessons. In my family, we were frugal. And I knew Dad would say something like, "Sister, we're not going to hoop off good money on something as silly as that." And I didn't want to displease Papa, so it just never was an option to ask for the shoes, much less the lessons or the costumes. But my heart was there when Linda would dance, and I vividly remember to this day being in the balcony on the front row, and Linda's now dancing, and she had on a pink tutu and those black net stockings and a little tiara and the music, and the spotlight was following her, and in my heart of hearts, I could just visualize myself right there beside her. Shirley Temple was my idol, and some of you may remember little cute, bouncy Shirley. And but that was then, and so you can do the math. It was 1985. I was about to be 50 years old, and I thought, you know, I don't want one of those black balloons, Metamucil, Geritol, kind of parties where people depress you at a time you want to be encouraged. So I thought, well, I'm going to get out ahead of this one. And I was thinking, you know, half a decade, what is it I want? Now, think about this. Kids, have you noticed when you're growing up for Christmas or Hanukkah, you almost always get exactly what you want, the right size, the right color, the one you pointed to. And why is that we always got what we wanted as kids?
We asked. And our parents listened.
Yeah. You told them, clearly. You took them and showed them. And you even played along with the fantasy. Yeah, I'll tell Santa. You bet. Now, think about it. What happens now? I'm asked, Anne, we've got an anniversary coming. What would you like, dear? And nothing. I have everything I want. Just your love. The anniversary rolls around. I get, nothing. And I get pissy. Anybody besides me in that boat? Think about it. You've forgotten what you knew as a kid about how to have the joy. So, 50th birthday, and I'm thinking, you know, what I've longed for all my life is shiny black tap shoes.